What's going on, guys? This is Wes here. Today we are going to set up FreeTAKServer 1.5. That's what we're going to do. This will be a tutorial to essentially just get you guys, a visual representation of how to get your FreeTAKServer all set up and ready to go. Okay, for the purpose of this demonstration and this video, we are going to be setting up this FreeTAKServer instance locally under my local network here, my Wi-Fi at home. Okay, well, this computer right here is connected to the LAN port, but it's essentially the same thing. So we are going to set up this FreeTAKServer here in my home network. So without further ado, we are going to navigate to user local lib python 3.8 dist-packages. Okay, we're going to run an ls real quick just to make sure. Okay, so I already have FreeTAKServer installed. Okay, so that's going to affect a little bit. Well, it's not going to affect anything. I'm sorry. That's this step right here. You won't be able to get to see the step, what it looks like when you're installing FreeTAKServer. But just for the purpose of this demonstration, the first thing that you're going to do once you get your Linux box set up is going to be, let me clear this. We're going to do sudo python 3 and pip install FreeTAKServer, and then we're gonna add the UI, because that is the latest and greatest release. So we're gonna hit enter, and you're gonna see that it says a bunch of requirements are already satisfied because I've already installed FreeTAKServer. I wanted it to show you the entire process and all that good stuff. However, after a couple takes, I got kids here at home, and they'll be screaming in the middle of me recording. So yeah, there's no way for me to delete a baby screaming out of my video. So there's that. Okay, so now that we have FreeTAKServer installed, we are going to update a couple. We're going to update or make changes to only two documents. One of those is going to be the main config, and the other one is going to be the config.py, which is for the UI. So we're going to start with the first one, which is going to be the main config. Okay, let me back that up real quick so that you can see. Okay, so I'm already here in dist-packages, right? And I'm just going to run sudo nano FreeTAKServer-controllers configuration main config.py. Then we're going to run that. Let me expand this a little bit more. Okay, so we're only going to update or make changes in a couple places here. The first place is going to be data package service default IP. Okay, so for me, it's going to be my local IP. Alright, and how do I know my IP? Well, I'm glad you asked. We're going to go ahead and exit here real quick, and we're going to do IP address show. And for me, my IP address is 10.0.0.183. So that is the IP that my router has assigned to this particular machine. I'm not trying to insult anybody's intelligence, but I just want to make sure that I am as detailed as possible. So now we go back to the main config. So now that we know what my IP address is, we're going to go here and data package server default IP, and we're going to do 10.0.0.183. We're going to go down to user connection IP. We're going to change it as well to 10.0.0.183. your Python version plays a big role here, okay? Especially, you know, with different Linux distributions. Like the biggest suspect here is Raspberry Pi OS. If for some reason you want to set up your FreeTAK server on a Raspberry Pi running Raspberry Pi OS, the latest and greatest Python version that you can get is going to be Python 3.7. So this Python version is going to play a big role here, because if you leave it as Python 3.8 and you're running Raspberry Pi OS, it'll never start, because it will never be able to find the Python 3.8 directory that can be found under user local lib. It won't be able to find it. So the easiest fix ever is take that 8 out, swap it for a 7. And that should fix most of the routing problems and the tracing problems, okay? So that's that. And you will see this, the Python version, you're going to see this in some of the directories down below. User path, same thing, just leave it as is, okay? The API port, you don't want to mess with the ports, okay? Unless you're like 100, 1,000, 1,000,000% sure of what you're doing, just don't mess with the standard ports, okay? It's just gonna mess some things up, okay? Let's just, you know, rid ourselves from some, you know, self-inflicted issues and whatnot. The API IP, we are going to leave that one as is, okay? So don't bother with that one. Your CLI IP, leave that for localhost, okay? Don't change it. Leave your loopback IP in there. Just don't mess with it. Anything else in here? Oh, your DB file path, I strongly recommend to leave it as is, okay? Because if not, you're gonna have to go through every directory, every document in every directory, making sure that you update, you know, where the directory for the FTS database is going to be. Your UI is going to be expecting to find the DB in the root/FTS database.db in order to do like a little check with the server to let the server know, hey, look, I'm the UI. Hello, I'm here. I'm just trying to do a little quick check here so I can get into, you know, get into the server so I can pull up the UI and all the information. So just don't mess with it. Just leave it like it is, and everything's going to be just fine. I promise you. All right, your version. Your version is that little thing that's going to show up, you know, below your server configuration on the TAK servers section under settings in ATAK. You can change this to whatever you want. Usually, if any of you guys have downloaded and are using my RPi FTS images, then you would notice that under the server name, it'll say RPi FTS whatever 4.0 1 mark whatever. You change that right here. So if you want to change your server to a look DC Metro whatever fire department or police department or search and rescue team 1, whatever, you can do that right here. You can change it right here in version. So right here, user path, you see that? We saw those just above here. So as you're looking in these directory, you know, as you're looking into, you know, these lines down here, these lines are specifying, as you can see here, this is the main path. So the main path equals user path, Python version, dist-packages, FreeTAKServer, okay? So make sure that, like I said, if you're running Raspberry Pi OS, you need to change this to a 3.7 because it's going to look for your Python version, okay? Down here, you'll see all of these main path, which is going to find this entire path right here, and then it's going to find xcheck and all that other good stuff, okay? Let's keep going down. Boom, boom, boom. There is probably Not much I'm going to change from here. The only thing I'm going to change from here is going to be, and this is just for my purposes, it's going to be the federation key password. I'm going to change it to ATAC. Alright. And then I'm going to change the password as well for the CA to be ATAC. And the reason why I do that is so that I can have intercompatibility between FreeTAKServer and OG-TAKServer, okay? Because OG-TAKServer uses ATAC on everything, and that's just standard, okay? It keeps things simple and standardized. Nothing else in here is going to change as of right now. Oh, one thing that I want to show before we close the main config. So every time you log into the server, every time you connect with the server, you're going to see a welcome message that's going to pop up as a chat. This is the message that always comes up. Welcome to FreeTAKServer. It's going to show you the version. The parrot is not dead, it's just resting. Well, right here in this line is where you change that. Let's say that you want to change it to whatever. For example, I change it to, hey, welcome to FTS 4.0 Mark III. Whatever you want to change it to, you can change it right there. It's going to change the verbose of that message that you're going to receive. So just keep that in mind. All right, now that we're done here, we're just going to Control X and we're going to yes, enter. And now we are going to edit sudo nano FreeTAKServer-UI and then config.py. And we're going to enter here real quick. And the only thing that we're going to change in here is going to be the app IP is going to be 0.0.0.0. And then here in the IP, I'm going to use 10.0.0.183. The port for the API is going to stay the same. Everything in here is going to stay the same. We're not going to touch none of this. As you can see here, so the API and the app are going to be looking for root FTS database.db. So that's why I mentioned before, just don't mess with it, okay? Same thing here. So if you see the cert path, right? If you're using Raspberry Pi OS, you got to come back in here and make sure that you update the cert path, okay? That should about cover everything that we're going to touch in here. That's it. Everything else, we're going to leave as is. So Control X, yes, enter. Now, I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. And right here, these, my friends, are the commands to start the server. Sudo python 3 -m pip FreeTAKServer.controllers.services.FTS. That's what you're going to type and what you're going to hit enter on one of these terminal windows to start your server. Sudo flask app, all that good stuff. This whole command right here is the command that you're going to use to start your UI, okay? So I will make sure that I add these commands to the description in the video so that you guys can, get a little quick summary, but at the same time, have these commands available so you can copy and paste them into your terminal windows, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and minimize that. I'm going to go ahead and open all these terminal windows, and as you can see, I had already prepared these terminal windows and they are ready. So you're gonna need two terminal windows open, okay, so that you can start. You're gonna start the server on one terminal window, and you're gonna start the UI on another terminal window. Now, if you want to have your server and your UI to start on boot, We will get to that later. But right now, you have to type the command and you have to press enter and leave the terminal window open. Otherwise, you're going to kill the service. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start the server first. You want to start the server first, so we're just going to go ahead and hit enter. And what? Oh, look at me. That was pretty dumb. All right, please do not put pip in here. That was my bad. That is totally my bad. I am so sorry for that. All right, now we hit enter. It's creating directory at logs. It could not find any keys, so it's creating the CA and the pub server keys and the pub server certs and all that good stuff. Right now, our server has started, my friends. So now we go ahead and start the UI. All right. USGA starting on HTTP 0.0 blah blah blah, all that good stuff. This is running. Now you have server running and you have your UI running. So we can go ahead, let's open Firefox for a second. We'll try and pull it up on Firefox. So we're going to do a 10.0.0.183 and 5000. Enter here. Boom. We are up on FreeTAKServer 1.5. It is up and running. And what are we going to do here? So default login credentials. It's going to be admin, and password is literally password. Now we go ahead and log in. It's going to say that it wants to save, boom, 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 all that good stuff. Here we are. Let me try and minimize this a little bit. Oh, that's fine. All right. Our server is up and running. Pretty good. Services are moving. Federation is turned off. That's fine because we are not using Federation. So by default, the Federation will be off. Okay. It's just one less service that's running at the time, to help preserve, your resources and all that good stuff. As you can see, this machine is running pretty well. It's only using 27% of the CPU's max capacity with server UI and the actual UI running on my web browser. So that's actually pretty decent. So that is up and running, guys. Okay. You have your server and your UI running. Now, the first thing that you want to do is you want to come over here and you want to add a user. So I'll go ahead and say FTS admin. It's going to be, I don't know, just for shits and giggles. FTS admin is going to be my name. What is the group that I'm going to assign? I'm going to assign the admin group. I want to make sure that this particular user has nothing but admin rights. And then I'm just going to give it FT for the token. So your token and your password, these are going to be very useful for the API. You're going to need those in order to access the API. We're not going to talk about the API, as I mentioned, unless you're you're a hardcore coder and developer and all that stuff and have great understanding of programming language. You probably won't be messing with this too much. Okay, so I probably won't be messing with it too much, so I'm just going to give it a, let's say, FTS admin all over again. FTS admin, and then this one's going to be FTS admin 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now certs. As I mentioned in my previous video, this is going to generate your certs the moment you submit. But I don't want certs for the admin. So just go ahead and say false. Add your guy. Now we have FTS admin. So we're going to log out right now. And we're going to use FTS admin. And then we're going to log in. Now we're going to save that. I'll save that. I'll play the game just for right now. And first thing upon logging back in again is you want to delete the default admin account. Why? Because if you're going to plan on running your server wide open, yeah, you don't want anybody to have any chances at getting into your server. So you're just going to get rid of it right away. Now we're going to go ahead and do FTS, okay, SSL, and then 1. This right here is going to be a general key that we're going to create for users to be able to get on the SSL side. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and this is going to be for users. Token is going to be FTS user, and then FTS user 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, in this case, we do want some certs because this is going to be the FTS SSL cert that's going to allow the clients to connect on the SSL side. So we are going to leave the certs drop down in true. We're just going to go ahead and press submit at this point. Okay, boom. Now we have FTS admin. He's the admin, and then the SSL key for the users. Groups is a feature that's coming soon. Okay, so what is group going to do? Well, what group is going to do is, let's say that I want to add another user, and if I add another user, let's say FTS SSL and then 2, and then I say this is going to be user 2, and then I go ahead and FTS user 2, FTS user 2, and I generate certs. So with these two certs created, once I assign a different group to each one of these, I can have a group of people on FTS SSL 1, and they'll be connected to the same server as the guys on FTS SSL 2. However, these guys are completely isolated because I have isolated the certs by groups. So when the cert authenticates with the server is going to understand that, okay, this cert belongs to group user, and this cert belongs to user 2. So it's going to keep both groups separate from each other. This is how you kind of, use the server for multiple departments and all that good stuff. But I think I have covered that in my previous video on the overview. So this is the first thing that we're going to do. We generated certs. Okay, so now we're going to go to mission and make sure that I undo this, make sure that it's public just for a short period of time, and allow your client to be able to connect to the server and do what the client needs to do, download the FTS SSL and all that good stuff. Okay, so we did that. We made it not private. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to get out of here, and we're going to get to ATAC. Alright, why am I all the way over there? That is interesting. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and say, there we go. We're just gonna zoom in over there. Okay, so we're gonna go to settings. We're gonna go to tax servers. You're gonna see some crazy stuff in here. Don't worry about it. This one is gonna delete it. Delete it. This one's deleted. I'm not using that right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a server connection, and then we're just gonna type in here FTS test. Next line is going to be 10.0.0.183. You're not going to click on anything else. You're just going to click here in advanced options. This is going to be a TCP connection, and it's going to be on port 8087. If you're connecting TCP, it's always on 8087. All right. So we're going to hit OK. Boom. We're connected to the server. We get a green light. So, interesting enough, there we are. Okay, so you will see that you get your message saying, oh, hello, 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 all that good stuff. Great, great, great. Now, we're going to go to data packages. And we're going to go to the server. And there it is. When you download it, you should be able to see data package added, all that good stuff. Okay, so now we should be able to go back, settings, tax servers, and you should be able to see that configuration right there, the one that says FreeTAKServer 10.0.0.183. All you have to do now is click on it, boom, and you're on. Now you're on SSL, and you can undo this connection now. This client has been successfully configured. So we have configured the server, we got the UI running, we got everything running, we created an SSL cert for the client to be able to connect. Now the client is connected on SSL. So that's that part. We are done with that. So once that happens, what you want to do is, at this time I'm just going to go ahead and close we're going to go ahead and close ATAC, and we're going to get back to the computer. Okay, so once all your clients are done downloading the SSL configuration zip file, you're going to go ahead and click it back to private. You don't want anybody, for some reason, just slipping into your TCP port. Okay, so you go ahead, make it private once again, and then come down to configure and shut it down. HTTP and TCP, you shut them both down. Now the only ports that are going to be listening for connections are going to be SSL COD and SSL data packages. Okay, that's it. We are configured, guys. This is essentially all that takes for you to get your server up and running. Actually, I should have done something. Yeah, okay. Let me show you something else, guys. Oh, so for those of you that are running, that are going to be running this server over a NAT, you know, port forwarding from your public IP straight into your server. This is what you're going to do, guys. When let's open ATAC again. And I will show you real quick. So when you download it, the data packet, the data package, you notice that it didn't automatically connect, right? This gives you time to, we're going to use FTS test just for the purpose of this test, okay? So right now, the only green light that you see is the SSL one, right? We're going to use the next connection up, the TCP connection, just for this test. Once you get that data package to configure that line right there, just go ahead and press on the pencil. Change your name to whatever your server is. I don't know, FTS test, and then 2. And then now you can go ahead in here and let's say that 100 204 400 1169. Let's say that is your public IP. Before you check the box, you can change these settings here real quick. You can change the IP address and you can change the name so that you can configure your public IP here if you're accessing your server from outside of your network. So all you do, boom, and then of course right now it's not going to connect because that's not even a real IP, but you get what I'm saying. You're able to configure that connection real quick. At least change the name and change the IP prior to activating it, because once you activate it, it's going to start trying to talk to the server, and you want to make sure that you have your IP correctly set up. Make sure that if you're using your public IP, you have to be outside of your network. If you're inside your network, you have to have that connection created with the local IP. Okay, so if you're outside your network on LTE or on some Starbucks Wi-Fi, make sure that you're using the public IP configuration. If you're inside your home network, then just go ahead and use the configuration for the IP that has been assigned to your server by your router. Okay, boom. That's it, guys. We have successfully set up our FreeTAK server, and we have configured our client. Thank you for watching, guys. If you have any questions, please comment below. All right. If you have any issues or anything of that sort, please reach out to us on Discord. Reach out to us on Reddit. We're here to help. Just want to push out these videos for you guys so y'all can get your servers set up and all that stuff. Okay. Biggest thing is going to be your router. That's going to be an issue that I won't be able, I won't be able to give you a tutorial for that one. Okay, so just make sure that you get familiarized with your router, talk to your internet service provider and all that good stuff. Make sure that you get that piece, squared away prior to, trying to run your server openly to the World Wide Web. I will, however, spin up another video later on. I want to have it done by Sunday on how to configure your server for use with zero tier. Okay, so just hold tight on that one. But in the meantime, this video should get you squared away with your server, with your FreeTAK server / user interface set up, and it showed you how to connect your client and all that good stuff. Okay, all right, guys, thanks for watching. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. All right, it kind of helps. All right, please reach out to us on Discord. Once again, just reach out to us. We're there to help. Stay tuned for more. Thanks, guys.